Okay, here we go with the second assignment of Unit 3. This is assignment 3.2, and what this is going to be dealing with is a lot of addition and subtraction with a little bit of distributive property with some multiples in here. So again, yeah, just adding and subtracting and just a little bit of multiplication. Okay, again, let me remind you just generally what transpires as far as exponents are concerned. Okay, when I'm dealing with exponents, all right, we're going to be seeing a bunch of addition and subtraction problems. So how are the exponents themselves affected? What do? You do nothing when the exponents, with the exponents. So like x to the fourth plus x to the fourth. That's going to stay an x to the fourth. Okay, that's going to stay an x to the fourth. Now, what you're going to truly have to add and subtract is the numbers that are on the outside, the coefficient of them. So you don't do anything as far as the x to the fourth is concerned. However, because these things are called like terms, you're able to put them together, and then so the numbers themselves truly do add. All right, so you don't do anything special as far as the numbers are concerned, and you just do what you're supposed to do. All right. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. So the idea is this. You can only add and subtract x's that are the same. Like x to the thirds can only add and subtract x to the thirds. X squareds can only add and subtract x squareds. Like normal numbers can only add and subtract other normal numbers. Right? So these are called like terms. You're only able to add and subtract things that are the same. Okay. Now, what we're going to see here also, you can see it in this first problem, that we have got big old parentheses. And I know we dealt with this a little bit in, I think, Unit 0, I think, that if we have a minus on the outside of a big old parentheses, what you do is you kind of distribute that negative into the parentheses itself. So this would become a negative 7x to the fourth, a negative 3x to the third, and a negative 14x squared. This first parentheses, it isn't affected, all right? There's a positive number out there, so it is not affected. So this is still a positive x to the fourth, a negative 3x squared, and a negative 5. All right, so if it's a minus, make sure you bring the minus into the parentheses that it's touching. Right, so for example, in number 2, here's a minus. So what I do is I have to bring that subtraction, that minus in, which would make a negative 12x squared, a negative 9x, and a positive 14. Okay, so if there's a negative, bring in that negative. Okay, let's go back to number 1, and we see that this is a big addition and subtraction, and I'm only allowed to put together the things that are the same. So for instance, x to the fourths, stick with x to the fourths. So that's 2 minus 7, so that's negative 5. All right, next I have an x to the third. So x to the thirds only deal with x to the thirds. And there's only one x to the third, so it is what it is, negative 3x to the third. Okay, 2 x squareds. So I have an x squared and another x squared. So x squareds deal with x squareds. So that's negative 3 and negative 14. So that's negative 17. Next is just regular x's. I don't have any just regular x's. There are no regular x's. And then I go down to normal numbers. I have negative 5, and that's it, negative 5. And so the regular number is negative 5. So when I write these exponents, I start with the largest, And so if the largest is 4, then I go to 3, 2, 1, which are just regular x's. Okay, 1, and then no x's. 0 x's. And that's your answer. All right, so in the second problem, I have an x squared, a 3x, and a negative 5 that are not touched. And it's subtracting, so I bring in the subtraction. Now I can handle my business. Numbers that are chilling all by themselves have a 1 in front. So I start with my largest exponent, that is x squareds. So x squareds are 1 and negative 12. So that would yield a negative 11 as the x squareds. X squareds go down to x's, so x's with x's. That would be positive 3 and negative 9, so that's negative 6. Beyond x's are normal numbers, so normal numbers, normal numbers. I have negative 5 and positive 14, so that's going to be a positive 9. Okay. So I kind of implied what you do with things that touch parentheses. So if there's a negative or whatever, you, in essence, multiply in. Because the number that is technically in front, let's take a look at number 2. There's technically a negative 1. So what I do is I take that negative 1 and I multiply in. All right, so if there's a number up front, grab the number with its symbol and multiply in. So here in number 3, this first parentheses has a positive 2. So I'm going to multiply in positive 2 to all these things. So 2 times 1, 2 times negative 3, 2 times 5. All right? So 2 times 1, 2 times negative 3, and 2 times 5. In the second parentheses, notice that the number is negative 3. So I'm multiplying with a negative 3. So negative 3 with a positive 12 is a negative 36. Negative 3 with a negative 9 is a positive 27. Negative 3 with a positive 14 is negative 42. So whatever the symbol is, the number, include the symbol. Like, so when I rounded up this 3, I didn't just grab 3, I grabbed specifically a negative 3. I didn't grab just 2, I technically grabbed a positive 2. You just don't grab the number, you have to grab the symbol with it. So here we go, x squared. I have 2 and negative 36. X's, I have negative 6 and positive 27. Normal numbers, I have 10 and negative 42. Okay, so here I'm going to grab positive 2. And I'm going to grab positive 3. X squareds go with x squared, so 2 and 36. X's with x's, so negative 6, negative 27. Normal numbers with normal numbers, 10 with 42. Okay, here there's technically 1s in front. So 1s, this is an addition problem. So Ones don't change anything. They are what they are. So I have x squared, 3x, negative 5, 12x squared, 9x, and a negative 14. Okay, there's technically a 1 on that x squared. Again, like this is pretty straightforward. So x squareds with x squareds, x's with x's, normal numbers with normal numbers. Okay, here it's getting a little bit more complicated. This is touching the big parentheses, so this needs to be multiplied in. Again, when exponents multiply each other, right? Here we've just been dealing with numbers like 3 and a 5x squared plus a 2 or something like that. So here, all it's been is just numbers. So that's 15 and 6. Cool, cool, cool. But how this problem is going to be different is there is now variables coming in. So like, for instance, 3x to the 2, and I'll say this is a 5x to the 3 plus 7, or something like that. All right, so when I multiply in this 3x squared, yes, numbers still multiply. So like 3 times 5 is still 15. But again, how do the exponents, how do the x's handle each other? So again, this is a multiplication. So that implies that the exponents add. So 2 plus 3 would be 5. 3 times 7 is still 21. 2 plus, technically x to the 0. 2 plus 0 is 2. Okay, so the exponents will add to each other. All right, so the numbers multiply and then the exponents add. So the numbers, let's just worry about the numbers. So negative 3, negative 5, positive 15. Negative 3, positive 3, negative 9. Negative 3, negative 14, that's 42, positive 42. All right, so those are the numbers. 15, negative 9, 42. Okay, the rest are just exponents. And again, how the exponent themselves add. So in this first one, x2, x2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Y's are 1 and 1, so that's going to be 2. Okay, in that middle one, x2, x1, that's an x3. y1, y2, that's a y3. Again, when a letter is just chilling by itself, it technically has a 1 as an exponent. All right, this last one. I have x2, x1, that's an x3. The y's, I have a y1 and a y1, so that's going to be a y2. So the numbers straight up still multiply, and then any exponents I add. I add the exponents together because multiply 1 degree less is addition. All right, so here we go. Multiplication, multiplication. So numbers multiply, 14, 6, and 24, or excuse me, 28. Okay, that was the 2. Now I need to bring in the x. So x1, x3 is an x4. x1, x2 is an x3. x1, x1 is an x2. So multiplication is addition in the world of exponents. All right, now here, I notice that I am multiplying, again, a polynomial with a polynomial. Now, I know we talked about this in Unit 0, but in case you kind of missed the boat on that one, what you do is this. You take the first term of the first parentheses and you multiply everything of that next parentheses. So 4x, I'm going to multiply that with 3x squared, negative 7x, and positive 5. So numbers multiply, exponents add. So 4 times 3, x with x squared, 4 times negative 7, x with x. 4 times 5, x with nothing. Okay, so that's the 4x. And it produces those answers right there. As soon as you're done with that first term, you move your attention to the next number of that first item, which is positive 9. And then you repeat the process. So positive 9 with positive 3 is 27. Nothing with x squared is x squared. Positive 9, negative 7 is negative 63. Nothing with x is x. Positive 9, positive 5 is 45. Nothing with nothing is nothing. So I create this big long polynomial, and then all that I have to do now is put the same things together. So x to the thirds, there's 12. X squareds are negative 28 and positive 27, so that's negative 1. X's are 20 and negative 63, so that's negative 43. Normal numbers is just that 45. And again, what I mentally do is I see that my biggest exponent is 3, so I go down 3, 2, 1, none, as far as the exponents of those x's. So I look for the x to the thirds, then I look at all the x squareds, then I look at all the x's, and then I look at all the normal numbers. Okay, so we start with the first term, multiply all the way through. So 6 times 1 is 6, x with x squared. 6 times 3 is 18, x with x is x squared. 6 with 5 is 30, x with nothing is x. Okay, so that is the multiplication as far as the 6x is concerned. Move to the next item, which is the negative 9. Repeat the process. So negative 9 with x squared is negative 9x squared. Negative 9 with positive 3, negative 27x. Negative 9 positive 5 is negative 45. So putting everything together, I have 6x to the third, negative 1x squared, positive 3x, and negative 45. Okay, this one's going to be kind of large, but whatever. Okay, so I begin with 1x squared, and I multiply everything of that next parentheses. So 1x squared, 1x squared, 1 times 1 is 1, x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. 1 times 3 is 3, x squared with x is x to the third. 1 times 5 is 5, x squared with nothing is x squared. So I got done with the first item of that first polynomial, the x squared. Then I go ahead and shift to the next item, which is 6x, and I repeat the process. So 6x times 6 times 1 is 6. X times x to squared is x to the third. 6 times 3 is 18. X times x is x squared. 6 times 5 is 30. X times nothing is x. All right, and then I shift my attention to the last item. So I've gone over the x squared. I've gone over the 6x. Last but not least is this negative 9. And again, I repeat the process. Negative 9 times 1 is negative 9. X squared with nothing. Nothing with x squared is x squared. Negative 9 times 3 is negative 27. Nothing times x is x. Negative 9 times 5 is negative 45. Nothing times nothing is nothing. So my result going to be x to the fourth plus 9x to the third plus 14x squared plus 3x minus 45.